Good evening. Welcome to the Living in Utah live question and answer session here. Thursday evening. I try to be here every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. If you're joining us from California, it is 7 o'clock in the evening. So in the state of Utah, we are seeing some it's not as light in the evenings and in the morning. It's we're starting to head into the winter months. I like the nice, bright evenings and early morning sunshine, but that's changing. That is changing right now. So we still have some nice weather. It's been great all week. Temperatures are supposed to drop this weekend a little bit in northern Utah and in southern Utah. A little bit of a cool front coming through, but nothing we can't handle. So that is mostly what's going on right now in the state of Utah. I was going to talk a little bit about, there's an article just came out yesterday, or some news came out yesterday, that residential housing starts are down 8.1% in September, and I kind of expected that. Builders are backing off a little. And I've heard that from a number of builders telling some of their subcontractors, we're going to scale back the amount of homes that we build because they're starting to see inventory sit a little longer on the market. And they do not want all these homes on the market unsold. So I was not surprised. And this is a national number, 8.1% down. I would imagine throughout the winter months, we're going to see our new housing starts also decline. Just kind of par for the course as we are like going into a recession. What makes me a little bit nervous about this is we already are behind on inventory for homes in general because of the crash in 08, 09, and then because we have to build so many homes per year just to keep up with population growth. And we have not met those numbers. And there has been a big backlog. That's one of the reasons the prices went up due to low inventory. And as we decrease housing starts, however long this goes, maybe from this month forward, if it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, further down the road, we will pay the price. No doubt about it. Because when the real estate market is booming, there will not be enough homes. There will not be enough homes because during times like this, we are not building enough. And especially if we go into next year with these same sort of numbers where builders aren't building, or if some builders go out of business, then it's going to affect further down the road in the future. So important numbers, but I understand why builders are a little bit hesitant on building. We don't know where we're going. There was someone from the Federal Reserve on one of the internet sites that stated that the interest rates that are rising, it's not helping inflation. And they're going to have to raise the interest rates even more. I personally think we left it a little too long. I think we should have been, if they were looking at raising rates, they should have done it last year. I think they actually dropped a little too low. They were dropping rates so much through COVID instead of dropping them some and see where we would go and see what the results were. Now I think we are possibly raising them too much because we're going to get a point where it's just going to get too high. So, but they are talking about increasing the rates. It's an unusual time. The Prime Minister of Great Britain, England, resigned today. I think she's been on the job like 6 to 8 weeks, literally. I think this is the third prime minister they've had all year. She came into office, want tax cuts and a lot of promises, and it's backfired on her. That's one of the reasons. There's other reasons. But, you're right now with inflation, recession looming globally, some of these countries are going to have to, understand just trying to stay the course will be an accomplishment. So, with jobs and everything going on. So, it's an unusual time. I said a little bit about that last week. In the United States, we talk about the inflation rising and possible recession and interest rates up. And you would think that the US dollar would be in the tubes, not worth a whole lot. It's actually the opposite. The US dollar right now is strong. A few weeks ago, it hit a record against the Great British Pound, GBP, and it hit all-time low, 103. It dropped down to, so $1.03 to one British pound. And I've experienced times in my life where it was over $2 to the pound. So it's a great time to buy foreign currency if you plan on traveling over there. It's gone up now. I think today's rate was probably 112, 113, probably somewhere around there. Will you be able to survive and work full-time as a real estate agent? Yeah, I don't see why not. If not, then I mean, it's not the only thing I can do. I do enjoy trading, currency trader. I only do it a little bit here and there, like in the mornings. I really enjoy getting up real early in the morning, and I look at the European news, and I'm always on the computer for the opening of the New York Bell. So I could always shift gears a little bit. I could always trade the London Open. I'd have to get up really early and then probably take a nap afterwards. And then New York Open, and I could get more into currency trading if I wanted to. I enjoy the Forex market, the financial markets. I've been fairly successful with it, just on a part-time basis. But really, I get bored though. I don't know if I could sit in front of a computer for 4 or 5 hours watching the markets. So I like being outside, traveling in the car. That's just my gig is outside. I really, the people who are full-time traders, I don't know how they sit in front of a computer 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day. Well, the Forex market's open 24 hours a day. There's people literally that trade that 16 hours out of the day and sleep the other 8 hours, but or 6 hours, 6, 7, 8 hours. So I could always do some of that. It's not really my big passion. I mostly do it as kind of a hobby. I do enjoy world news. So my gig with the currency trading is I see what's happening in Europe and Asia and Australia. And I know when the New York market hits, some of that news will impact currency at the New York Open and throughout the day. So I like to get ahead, and so I keep up with some of that news, and sometimes it's bad news. So a lot of money to be made on bad news. So I got a friend that just last week. There's a few people when we had the what was released last week, CPI numbers or inflation numbers, one of the two. There's news always coming out. And he texted me. He rode that train all the way down about $65,000 in a 5-minute period. Because literally when that news come out and it was down, it was 6:30 in the morning, Utah time, Mountain time. And the markets just plunged, and he bought right at the right time, shorted it, and watched that go down over about maybe less than 5 minutes. I watched it go down too. I actually had a couple sells on that also, nowhere near what he had, but in under 5 minutes, he sent me a text and was like, that was $65,000 ride. So unbelievable sometimes. Bad news can pay off. Sorry, having trouble with the man. Doesn't mean it's going to be good for us. I was a little bit lost on that. Why has everything in Utah been so expensive? Are we referring to real estate, or are we referring to everyday items, gasoline, milk, bread, property tax, car insurance? If we're talking about real estate, it basically boils down to supply and demand. We have had over many years. I've mostly noticed it after the Olympics in 2002. We've had some tremendous population growth, especially over probably the last 5 years. With population growth, there's a demand for housing. When there's a demand for housing, prices rise. That's why I've always said real estate in general, regardless, I mean, I'm not talking just about Utah. I'm talking about a lot of states. The best place, in my opinion, to buy real estate is in a market that is growing and has the potential to grow in the future. Housing will always be needed. We always need housing. There's not a substitute for it. But if you take an area, a city, a state that is seeing migration outwards, well, the long-term outlook might be that home values may go down, or it might be tougher to sell the home. So we've had supply, and we've also been a huge creator of jobs, very low unemployment numbers. And that also drives all forms of housing, whether it's rental rates have gone through the roof too, and also purchases. So it's also sustainable jobs into the future, as opposed to maybe jobs that I consider a little bit more maybe unstable during certain economic times, like anything like service-oriented jobs or vacation areas that can always get hurt. When times are tough, people vacation less. So areas like Las Vegas and Florida, sometimes on a downturn, do not fare as well. So everyday items. And I would say, well, my experience, our everyday items, our cost of living in Utah, I believe, is lower than most states. There might be some states that beat us, but when I talk to people who move, I talk to a lot of people from out of state or move here or visit here, a lot of people. And in general, they say that when they go to the grocery store, our milk, our meat, our everyday items that you see on the shelf is typically lower than some of the states they're moving from. When it comes to property taxes, we're usually lower. When it comes to gasoline, we are lower than some of our neighboring states, but not the lowest. Like if you compare us on gas with like the Midwest or some of those states, possibly the South. I'm not too sure what the gas prices in the South are exactly. I think we fare pretty well. I really do. Those areas you'll find it lower, but we fare well with. So when I travel to Las Vegas area, our gas prices in Utah are less than Las Vegas. When I travel to California, our gas prices are considerably lower than California. Always has been. So yeah, so I think overall cost of living is I think it's good. I want to come to Utah. Go ahead. Is the state actively working to expand its electric grid and water system? No. Quick answer. So, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know what's going to happen. Our electrical grid system is, I guess if you compare it to some other states, like maybe California and that, we're still doing okay, but I think we're almost tapped out. And something's going to have to happen. So what that is, I'm not too sure where they're going to go with that. As far as the water goes, we have water. Northern Utah, you divide the state into half, north and south. We have a severe problem in the southern half of the state. Yes, our reservoirs down there are low, very low. We have more water in our reservoirs on the northern part of the state, not where they would like them to be, but an ample amount of water. And there's a lot that we can do with water that we don't do now. This is the first year people have talked about xeriscape in their yards. People are now taking out some of the strips between the sidewalk and the road that they've had grass in. They're taking that out. They're putting landscape rock in. So there is a lot that's being done to conserve water. And I think we've done a great job this year. And I think in the future we'll do a little better. But the one area that we need to build more reservoirs. But I've been told that the issue is with getting government approval to build more. So that's the answer that I get. And it's not my wheelhouse to know for sure, but I would like to see you go up to areas like the Uinta Mountains, which is probably on the border between Utah and Wyoming. So the Uinta Mountains kind of straddles both borders. What I call the Uinta Mountains. It is not uncommon to get snow 14 foot tall, 15 foot tall. I've seen the Mirror Lake Road going into the Uintas where they've had to take huge amounts of equipment to try to open the road because it's 14, 15 foot tall. Where do we capture all that? See, there's a lot of areas where we can capture water. Is Logan a good place for school? Yes, 100%. I love Logan. I love Cache Valley. I love working up there. It is the hidden gem in the state by far. I could talk about Logan area, Cache Valley for days. I love it. Small town, atmosphere, but they have everything that you would need. They're building a Costco right now. I'm not too sure when it opens up. They already have a Sam's Club. They've got restaurants. They've got doctor's offices. Everything you need is in Logan. Great area, great school system. I've done a couple videos on school systems. Most of their schools rank very, very well. No negatives to Logan, except if you have to catch a flight on a regular basis out of Salt Lake Airport. You're a 2-hour drive to get to Salt Lake Airport. Plan on 2 hours, one way. So if you're in an industry at where you're constantly flying in or out for work or whatever job, especially during the winter months, driving through that canyon, it's treacherous. Yes. So, but if you work from home or work in the local area, no problem. If you only go to the airport for vacations once or twice a year, it's no problem. You can park at the airport. So, but that's about the only thing I really see about that area. It's great. It's a college town. It's great. It's still an area that, I leave my car unlocked in Logan all the time. So I'm up there all the time. I enjoy Utah State sports. So mostly because I love to drive up there. I absolutely love to drive up there. The people up there are great. It's fascinating. It's great to relocate to. Cost of living is a lot less than California. There you go. This is a good time to enter the market as a new realtor. I would probably say no. I think a lot of agents will be leaving the field. $3.07 a gallon in part of South Carolina. Okay, so we're over $4 a gallon. We're probably about $4.10. So we're $1 a gallon more in the state of Utah. But right now, I would imagine Las Vegas is they're about 50 cents more. So probably $4.50, $4.60. State of California, let's see here. $6 per gallon. Yep, that's probably in California. So I guess it depends where you compare gas prices. So there you go, $6, California. It's all fun and games, option trading, betting on 100 stocks at a time. Yeah, I don't do options. I'm not an option guy, but I don't understand options either. So I understand them a little bit, but not enough to. Currency is my thing, with 500 leverage, 1 to 500. So I enjoy the currency. I also enjoy the US 30. I sometimes trade US 30, NAS 100. I love the DAX. Don't really trade the Oz. Don't really trade the UK 100, I believe they call it. But love the DAX. Do like US 30, but US 30 is crazy. It moves fast, especially at market open. How do you feel about the gondola plan that is being proposed? Shouldn't we use taxpayer dollars for, let's say, reviving the Great Salt Lake instead of helping 2 private ski resorts? I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I do like the gondola idea, though. I think it's cool. I think it's a great way to travel. But yeah, I think we should spend some money somewhere else. How are the hospitals in Logan? I would say they're great. I would have no problem going to hospital in Logan. They might be a little bit limited. So maybe like some specialized care, or maybe like some advanced cancer treatment. And I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm throwing things at the wall here. Some of those items you'll have to go to Salt Lake for. That's so like we have Primary Children's Hospital in Salt Lake City, and they tackle some of the more, I guess, difficult or more specialized care for children, as far as healthy kids, routine doctor visits in Logan, fixing broken bones and taking care of most things. But if it was some kind of specialty care for children, you have to go to Primary Children's Hospital. Actually, Primary Children's actually services many states. People come from Wyoming, Idaho for specialty care at Primary Children's. And then for advanced cancer treatment, we have the Huntsman Cancer Institute in Salt Lake City, right above the University of Utah, which I have a lot of experience with. And also with the University of Utah healthcare system, they have some surgeons there that can perform some procedures that are not available in other areas. So those type of items would have to be in Salt Lake City. But some great hospitals up there. I would not hesitate for routine visits. Pretty much most of the side. I just think anything that might be advanced, you may have to go to Salt Lake City. So, and like Huntsman Cancer Institute is one of the leading cancer institutes in the state, in the country. They've got experimental treatments going on. I've got a friend that actually just passed away a few months ago that they kept him going for about the last 8 years through experimental treatments and other ways, I guess, to treat his cancer. And he had nothing but positive things to say about Huntsman Cancer Institute, 100%. But it was the only hospital in the area to take care of what he was dealing with. A lot of snow in the winter. Yes. Yes and no. Depends where you're at. I don't think we get a lot of snow if you are along what we call down in the valley between, Ogden and Provo, down along the valley. Now, if you live in some of the mountain towns like Park City, Heber City, up by Ogden, Huntsville, Eden, Liberty, areas like that where you're at a higher elevation, yes, snowfall up there. Also, the benches along the mountain range will receive So like where I-15 is, say I-15 gets 2 inches of snow. If you're up on the benches, you're probably going to get 6, 7, 8 inches of snow. It changes like that. There are parts of like Draper, Utah. You get up to the backside, Draper, Utah. Yes, a lot of snow. But so it kind of depends on where you're at a little bit. We're trying to move back to Utah. Oh, so you've been to Utah before. Cool. We're looking to buy out in Tooele. Are the prices creeping down out here? Our goal is to purchase in late spring. Prices in general, statewide, have come down. I haven't looked at Tooele numbers in a bit, but I'm gonna just throw out what's happening in some of the other areas. Pretty much in northern Utah, last time I looked, we were down about 8 to 10% from our highs of May and June. So that would probably be, say, the Logan area all the way down to Provo-Orem area. When we're looking at southern Utah, the St. George area, their decrease is a little bit higher than the 8 to 10% that we're seeing right around here. So about 8 to 10% so far. I would probably put Tooele in about the same market, about 8 to 10% probably. Or in Provo area. Okay. Yep. So, and by late spring, I can't tell you where the market's going. If I had to make a prediction, I think the market's going to go lower based on the fact the interest rates are rising. And the Fed has come out and said they plan on, they're going to continue this interest rate climb. Right now, 30-year mortgage is over 7%. Last time I checked. So if the Fed continues these rate increases, right now they're doing it 0.75%. I don't know, where are we going to be next spring? 10%. So yes, it hurts the housing market. It sure does hurt the housing market. Yeah. So F-35 crashed yesterday at Hill Air Force Base. Lucky the pilot was able to put it down on a runway and not one of the South Weber subdivision. We live in Clinton, so pretty close to the base. Glad pilot is okay. Yes, that did happen. I forgot about it. Didn't forget about that, but I didn't mention it. Yes, we did. And that's actually the first crash that they've had in the area. So I don't recall any other airplanes. They've had accidents before. I know they've had some training accidents out at their training ground. I think some of that was due to, or possibly due to, some of the high-speed maneuvers and everything that they do and stuff like that. It appears that this particular F-35, everybody's guessing, but there's some news reports or some people on the news that heard loud bang and everything and flames or smoke or something coming out of the engine. So they may have had a mechanical problem with this. And it's been reported a little bit that the pilot, was in as good a control as he could, and then waited till he got pretty much to the base, because it came down right at the edge of the base. I think part of it's on the base, part of it's off the base. Brought the plane down there, and he ejected out. So, great job. That's highly skilled. We have the best pilots in the world, so highly skilled. And glad he's okay. He walked away. Nobody was injured. No, not that I'm aware of. Nobody was injured on the ground. So positive for an airplane going down. That's about as positive an outcome as you could ask for, I would imagine. Okay. I saw top 10 cities overvalued, and Ogden was 60%, Provo 50%. Good possibility. Good possibility. So with about a 10% drop, maybe we're over by 50%, 40% now. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I personally thought that throughout COVID, I thought home prices just went too high. It was just a crazy, crazy time, and I hope I do not have to experience that as an agent again. There were many people that were let down or did not win the bid, as you might want to say, on a home. There was a lot of phone calls I had to make and say, sorry, we didn't win that particular deal. We did win quite a few. I did have a good game plan as best as I could. Sometimes, terms or other conditions you just can't beat out. For instance, if someone's financing, but somebody comes in straight cash, you can do a lot. I mean, it got to the point at where, I was writing love letters on most deals, and I was trying to find something in the house that I could relate to try to put in the letter. That was one of my tricks. If I saw a military uniform, I would mention the military and things like that to try to win a deal in a sense. Love letters. Was very common, but that was the market we were in. So I guess I don't dictate the market in a sense. I can't change the market. So, but yeah, it's possible we've got cities overvalued. I think the country in general is valued. We're not the only area that saw huge increases. Look at Texas and Florida and many, many states very north of us, Idaho, Boise, Idaho Falls, Rexburg, prices through the roof. I see too many homes dropping prices daily. Yes, that's correct. It's the competition. In February, March, we had on our MLS system, which, Utah MLS system, we're talking through the state. In February, March area, sometime around there, we were at 2,000 homes. I haven't looked today, but we're like 10,000 homes right now. Our inventory has gone up 5 times, multiplied by 5. Now you actually drive down neighborhoods and you see for sale signs. So it's it's crazy. It's crazy. Home we almost put an offer on a month ago, went down 25K since and still on market. North Ogden. Glad we did not pull the trigger. Yeah, there's still homes on the market. So that are not selling. We have seen an uptick over the last 2 weeks for some reason. It's been a little bit strange. I had last weekend or the weekend before, I had like 8 showings lined up. And on the Friday, about 4 of them went under contract before I could even get to them. So there's been a little bit of an uptick. Not too sure what caused that, but it's going to be up and down. It'll definitely be up and down here. Yep, 100%. Fleeing California could swoop in and pay cash after selling. I heard that contributed to rise in Utah house prices. Yeah, definitely. Cash deal, just a high demand on homes. It was not uncommon for a seller to receive 15, 20 offers within a day, 2 days, 3 days. And there were times that I would call, the home would hit the market, say it hit the market tonight. Tomorrow morning, I would call for an appointment and say, hey, we're going to come out at 5 or 6 o'clock. I would get a phone call around noon, maybe sometimes. Well, Mike, if you're interested in that home, I would recommend you see it in the next 2 hours because we already have X amount of offers on the home and we're going to cut it off. It got that crazy. It really did. So yeah, just not normal. Just not normal. And the bidding wars weren't normal. It just $50,000, $100,000 above asking. Saw that all the time. But yeah. And the other nice thing, this is the one thing I did not agree with, was the whole waiving your inspections. A lot of buyers got to the point where they're like, you know, uh, doesn't matter what it appraises for. I'm going to waive the appraisal. I'm going to waive my home inspection, um, just to get a deal done. And I'm not a big fan. Now, waiving appraisals, I don't mind too much, because if someone is willing to pay the price and the appraisal doesn't come in, but they're willing to pay that much money, then I guess they should have the home. But inspections, that's a tough one, because there's many homes that I've got inspection reports, and there's some major flaws in HVAC systems, roof, foundation issues, and some of these homes people are just buying up, and they will experience some major repairs. So I'm glad now in the market we can go get a home inspection, and if it's, drastic, we've got foundation problems, we've got roof problems, or something that costs a lot of money, we have the ability to walk away, move on to the next house, because there's plenty of homes on the market. Ready to see some snow this weekend? Might just drive up to the mountains to see it. Yes, you'll probably see some in the mountains, higher elevation. Oh, someone else going out on Sunday to see the snow. There you go. There you go. Good place to go. Yep. You'll probably see a little bit of snow going in some of those areas. Yeah. You go up towards the ski resorts. Yeah. Maybe, the ski resorts in general, for a good year, they would like to open on Thanksgiving weekend. And the last few years, it's been tough. It's been really, really tough to open on Thanksgiving weekend. And maybe it'll happen this year. So who knows? Don't know how we're doing with the weather. Any more questions this evening before I call it a night? Been great. I appreciate all the questions. I will call it a night and be back again next week. Thank you.